never
How have
used
you
it.
been?
It's been a long time, Charity.
It's been so long. I was like looking at my phone and I found some pictures and I was like, I've got to pull these up and show you. I don't know if you can see these.
Did you take me to the big tree?
Yes.
In Greenville?
Me. Yep.
Yeah. I remember.
Yep.
No, I remember you well. I just couldn't remember if we went there together or not.
Yeah, we did. That was actually, I think that might have been at it. You can't see these. It's terrible. Yes. Greenville's great. Old. We love Greenville. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, I'm so sorry, Jason. This is Jay.
Hi, Jay.
Hey.
Yes, Jay, Jason.
Rocking the Diet Coke. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
We just ran out, so I've had to move to the bubbly, which is like crappy, but it's all we've got. So
it's good though. Like if you can get a little cutter in there, you know, was that
I know
the cocaine, whatever. Because
I know. I was like, well, I better not.
I mean, I look like my bedroom. My kids are like, Dad, it looks like a fraternity in here but you only drink Diet Coke, you know, because I'm just like
cans everywhere.
Yeah. And I always leave a little in it. So like I have to get the right bag to put them in to recycle because I don't know why I always leave a little in it, but
I do that too. I don't know why. I'm a sipper and I don't know.
Anyway, that's what fuels my life. I have ADHD. So I found out that this year. So that probably explains why I drink so much of that.
I have CDO.
You have what?
What?
CDO.
What's that?
Jinx.
It's OCD, but everything has to be in alphabetical order.
I'm done. Because I am actually OCD. And that's why I was like waiting. Okay. That's
I'm a little OCD.
I've probably got a lot of different things. It just have never been diagnosed. So anyways.
Well.
Yeah. The diagnosis is a real pain in the ass. Aren't you in Canada?
I am.
You should go get diagnosed.
I could just go. It's free, right?
Come on, man. I know.
Oh, the parking though, that'll cost you an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Nothing
it would. Lord. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is crazy. It has been so long. How are you enjoying being a dad? Do you love it? Isn't it amazing?
I was kind of in panic mode because, well, it was just spring break, so the kids have been off all week, and well, there's a ball pit. We got them when they were little kids, and it was just the worst. Because like balls didn't stay in the pit, they're just everywhere. So we put the kibosh on that years ago, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about this ball pit. So all week, like, Dad, can we set that up? I'm like, yeah. Leave me alone. We'll set it up. And I never set it up. And then they're back to school today.
Oh.
And I pulled it last night, but it was like nasty. I'm like, guys, you can't go in these. We got to wash
this
them.
This is not happening.
Yeah. So I'm like, go to school. When you go to school in the morning, I'll clean it. I'll get it set up for you. I didn't. And then my wife texted me. She's like, we're on our way home from school. Is the ball pit set up? So I just scrambled and I just set it up right now.
Good for you.
And I said hi to them.
So
and then
good though. Yeah.
They played in it for about 30 seconds and then they're all crying and fighting. And I heard my mom or their mom yelling at them, telling them to knock it off. And I was just sitting here trying to get on this.
I'm sure.
It was a sweaty 15 minutes.
How old are they?
They my son is 8 and my daughters are twins and they just turned 7.
Okay, so my daughter's 8 and my son's 10. So yeah.
Okay, so you get it.
I get it.
Yeah.
I have a 10-year-old son, and then that's the only one we had.
Look at us growing up, Charity.
We're good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know though. 10-year-old son. I'll tell you guys, like I think the teenage years creep up a little bit earlier now.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Yeah, because I'm just like, wait, what?
7 going on 17. I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to this.
Same.
Oh,
it's like the answers get shorter and bro. And I'm like, dude.
Yeah, my kids call me bro. They all call me bro. I'm like, I'm your dad.
All the time. I'm the mom. And my son's like, bro. And I'm like, please stop. Yeah. Okay. Just chill. But yeah.
I'm like, just stay as young as you can, as long as you can.
Exactly.
Trust
me. That is the truth though.
Hey, I'm glad I'm not alone in this. I feel a lot better already. This is like therapy for me.
Yeah, that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
We had 10 minutes of, I had 10 minutes of therapy when we first got on here before you got on.
We were sitting on here and just chit-chatting, and I was like, same. Venting, yes.
So, Jay, you're on the West Coast, yeah?
I am in Seattle, Washington.
Okay. Yep. And Charity, you're still in South Carolina?
I'm actually in North Carolina, but like on the line. So I've
all right, yeah.
Yeah, but where I worked was in South Carolina.
Oh, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I lived on the
yeah.
line too. It was exciting to.
Yep.
you
Yeah,
just stand
Jay
in
used
one
to live in
spot. You could go to
Charlotte.
Carowinds and stand in one spot and be in North and South Carolina at the
I
same
do that. I
time.
used to do that all the
yeah,
time.
that's right.
Mhm. I would like
I did
straddle the
that.
little line. We take
Uh-huh.
pictures. Well, anyway, let me introduce this really quick too. I just we
Oh,
just
yeah.
jumped right in. I love it.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to When Love Interrupts. We are so excited. We have the former lead singer and founder, I would assume, of Hawk Nelson, Jason Dunn. We're so happy that you decided to join us. Thank you.
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Oh my God. Yeah, we're all in the same age group, aren't we? That's like,
I don't know. Am I a little older? I think. My
You might-
grandpa
yeah, you're-
over here.
little bit. You
Little
still
bit.
would, yeah.
50.
Not that
I'm
much.
50.
It's not
yeah,
that
you're
much.
way older than us.
Yeah, we're in our
Yeah.
20s still, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
Sweet. I feel
Mhm.
like I used to. I don't know how.
Yeah,
to
my
say
brain feels 20 right now. My body feels like 60.
Same.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I feel pretty young, and then I do this. I do one of my jobs is landscaping part time, and I'll only do it for a few hours, like a day, because the guy I work for just needs me usually 3 or 4 hours. And God, I mean,
You're about
there's
to die.
muscles that like I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I am 50. Like the one day I realized that I was like doing all these wheelbarrow things and dumping it out, and I was like, I don't care. I'm just a dude doing his thing, And then it was like I got home and I was like, what's wrong with me?
I hurt
Something's wrong with
everywhere.
me.
Yep.
Dude, I rolled my ankle driving our minivan. Just driving. Like, what's wrong with my foot?
How do you do
Never
that? Oh no.
It's dad mode. Yeah.
Yeah,
Deep
well,
dark secrets are out of the way now.
that's right.
I'm
Well, I can't
jealous.
say
I'd
that.
love a minivan, actually.
Oh, dude. I drive a white minivan. I am that guy.
It's okay.
I drive with pride. I'm not even mad about it.
Don't be. We all have landed there, I believe. Exactly the same.
I'm mad about the bear paws and the yogurt drinks that are spilled all over the back of it from my children, but whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I read this thing as this article, and it was from like an English newspaper, but because I guess they had an issue with this, and it was called car shaming. And like a lot of people who would get in and be like, oh, they're in a car, like there's French fries in the,
Oh, they would love me. They'd have a lot.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how it wasn't appropriate to car shame. And I was like, I am sending this to everybody was like, why are you sending me this article from England? And I was like, just read it.
Just read it. Read it. Yeah,
Just
I'm
stop
not that
judging.
friend. I would jump right in that car
Me
and sit on
too.
top of
I'll jump into
everything.
garbage.
I don't care. Yep.
Oh, dude, there's
it.
like people like if I like some friends or whatever, like you can ride with me, so I'll jump in the car. They're like, sorry, my car's such a mess. I'm like,
You don't even
it's
know.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a notebook in the passenger seat and you're upset about that? Okay.
I hate those people. I know them too. Well. Yeah. I'm just so excited to talk to you. It's been so long. I think actually, whenever we hung out in Greenville and all that, that was after you had already left Hawk Nelson.
Was it?
You were doing your, I know.
Dang.
Crazy. I think it was not long after. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I didn't play much. I didn't play much after I left the band.
No, I think it was
recently.
I don't remember. Yeah. And then you actually played at well, it was the radio station I worked for at the time, but it was at a church, and I think we got you. Yeah, we did. We got you to come play solo there one time also. But then I knew you didn't do a whole lot for a while, after that. So I was thrilled when I saw that you were getting back on it. I am curious, how does writing feel now compared to like the Hawk Nelson days? Did you guys used to write like the music together, or was it mainly you? Is it kind of the same, different?
Well, you know what? We did 5 albums together. Well, 5 full lengths together, and I think the process was pretty much different every time. From Letters, which was our first album, we did all together. The second one, along with Trevor McNeven from TFK. So he was on board with us for the first 2 albums, Letters and Small End of the World.
Nice.
So he kind of co-wrote and co-produced those 2 albums with us. And then as we branched out, just tried to get away from being Trevor's like pet band, because that's it's like, oh yeah, Trevor is you are basically all TFK's B-sides, right? Like
or FM Static.
That's just kind of how we were always looked at, So I was like, oh my gosh, like we need to kind of do this on our own. So after Smile, we did it kind of on our own. Obviously, when you're in a band was of our caliber, management and label always try to get you to co-write with other people, and we kind of did. I tried to, but I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So for the last one, it was pretty much me on my own.
Wow.
And then then it was just but on my own, but splitting it with everybody still, which I'm an adult now. I would have said no way today, but as a kid, all right,
I'll do it.
Yeah,
This is
I'll
fun.
just do what I'm told.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of how it went for the longest time. And then today, I've got a ton of ideas. You know,
I
I've
love
got 15 years of just pent up anger and love and all of that stuff. So, I can just a lot of this stuff because I've been working on this new album, or I've finished up this new album I'm working on called Formerly Known As. And a lot of it sounds kind of angry and bitter, but it's kind of just talks about starting over again. And a lot of these songs aren't brand new. Some of these are like 10 years old or even older. A lot of them, I was actually telling a buddy today, are some of the old B-sides for Hawk that we just never got around to finishing.
Cool.
And so it's more like an album that if Hawk Nelson was still going, this is what it would sound like.
That is
it's
awesome.
it's very early 2000s, but I'm kind of stuck there mentally anyway. So.
Well, me too. I mean, even my shirt. I know.
I'm a fan.
Well, I was actually going to say, in Divided States of America, the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is what I'm talking about. Yeah, because it felt so 2000s. And then the breakdown, like after the first chorus, and everything. And I just loved it so much. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm here.
All right.
And the cover art is awesome too.
It's so good.
Jeff McCann.
Yes, yeah, man. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Send it my way. I need some cool stuff for Revolution.
Dude, he's unbelievable.
It's good stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And I was curious about that too. If you had like with that song, as you were saying, you've got had a lot of pent up aggression, frustration, stuff like that. Did you write this with more out of like frustration and grief, or was it more from like, I want it to be a hopeful?
Yeah. I don't know. It honestly, it was kind of the follow up to our song Letters to the President. It's the same idea.
Yep.
If you really dig deep into it,
true.
like it's not about taking sides. It's more just like, hey, and not even just America. I mean, culturally around the globe,
everywhere. Yeah.
People thanks. I give a big shout out and thanks to social media for that. The algorithm that we get caught into, it sucks. I mean, mine's great. Mine is just dad jokes galore, which I love. But you know what I mean?
Well, I've noticed on Facebook, like I've got two different. I actually have three. I have like one for my just friends and family. And then I have like a public page, and then I have Revolution, the church. And the Facebook algorithm for the church one is all this like really conservative evangelical, like the president, is like, holding the flag or whatever, or holding your grandma or something.
Yeah.
And you're like,
and you know what?
And then I go to my other one and it's all like punk rock and this and that. And you're like going like, that is crazy how the algorithm just is like, oh, well, these
trying to cater
must be
to
religious,
what
so
our
they're
thing
this
is.
way.
They do.
It's a cool idea, I think, in hindsight. But I think when whoever came up with this idea, like, oh shoot, and they're kind of backpedaling, I would assume, because it's not going to end well.
No.
The idea kind of came to me. This was during COVID.
Oh wow.
Where everybody was like locked down and thinking about algorithms, and like my mom and dad invited me and my wife to go to their house to watch church. We're like, yeah, you know what? Let's go. We'll go over, and we just fired up their YouTube channel was fired up, and they were like making bacon and eggs. And I was just sitting on the couch, and my dad was sitting on one side. I'm sitting there. I'm just looking at what they were watching on like their YouTube feed. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, that is insane. But it was like my parents are like they're great, but it was all about like tribulation and the rapture and the world is ending and we need to be scared. I was like, dang, like this is hardcore. Like
it is hardcore.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want my kids going like, what is this? And
But
honestly,
definitely gives you some insight though, like when you're talking about like divided America or just divided the world. I mean, it definitely gives you the insight of like, because you start to feel like you're crazy. You're like, but I'm saying this stuff to these folks and they think I'm crazy, and then they think, and I'm thinking they're crazy kind of, and we're like missing each other. But then when you realize like it's just everything is just catered to your biased,
Yeah,
and
it's
like,
it's now there's not really much middle ground, and I've always kind of like I've always tried to ride right down the middle of everything.
Yeah.
I don't like to choose sides. But like the idea, like the divided states of America was just an idea, like I said, during COVID, and I've thought about it a lot. Like someone should write a song about that. That's just kind of what I would say.
Yeah.
And then and I'm not even going to drop names. I remember in the fall, someone who was very involved in the world and popular was assassinated. People were up in arms about good or that's terrible. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so divided. I'm like,
it's unreal.
I didn't see any middle ground being like, oh my gosh. But it was just so polarizing that I'm like, you know what? I'm going to write the song. And I was actually just I was cutting my church's lawn. It was a big lawn. It takes me about 3 hours, and I was doing it every week. And I just I just went off the lyric. We moved to the algorithm, not to the beat of life. That was it.
That's a great line.
Such a good line.
And then as I just kept cutting those beautiful lines, the melody came, and then I shut off the mower, put it in their shed, and then I ran home because I was the church. And, pulled out my phone voice recorder and then just
that's what you got to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea. I keep notepads everywhere.
Yeah, I'm old school like that too, man.
Yeah.
And I don't even write songs, and I keep them everywhere. Exactly.
Yeah. And I get confused now that I have so many freaking notepads around, but that's great. I'll find it eventually, though.
Exactly. That's so.
In like 15 years, it'll be just a golden idea.
That's so funny. Yeah, I'm like you, Jason. I feel like I've always been I'm a very like empathetic person anyway. So I've always kind of tried to go down the middle as well, And so I loved this song specifically because it felt like our voices, people that are more in the middle.
Yeah, I hope so.
We're finally being heard. Yeah. And like, and in such a loving way.
And scapegoating's not going to get us anywhere.
Exactly.
We've tried that.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And it seems like the left and right have both decided to give it a go, and it just it just does not end well. I'm like a student of Dr. King, and I like the idea of the beloved community and like working, not seeing a person as your enemy, but seeing misinformation as your enemy, and kind of, trying to, some hope for that division. I do Galatians at the beginning of every year.
Okay.
For Revolution. And the reason it is because here's Paul coming in dealing with a divided community of people, and they're both like, well, we believe this way, and I believe this way, and this is, and it's him just trying to be like,
oh gosh,
and it's been the same since the beginning of time, man. It's not going to go away. And I think
not.
Yeah, to summarize it, like love will always win.
That's how I feel. That's what that's why I even started this podcast, because I was just so disheartened to see, especially, I think we probably grew up similar, Jason, very, Christian world. And
did you kiss dating goodbye?
I did.
Oh yeah.
I
got dumped when that book came out. I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
If you guys had been going to see me speak at the time, I was saying, don't read that book. You'll end up divorced. Do not kiss dating goodbye. That guy, he used to talk about me at talks.
Come on.
Like,
no.
This Jay Baker thinks. And I was like,
Well, I would have thought the same thing. I would have been like, what a heretic.
I know.
I know. Yeah, at the time. Yeah, but yeah.
I would warn you kids. Go out and date. Get to know each other.
Yep. That's it. But yeah, just trying to find a way to bring some more positive voices out and learn to bridge those gaps again in a loving way. Because that's true. love is the only thing that's going to win. I mean, hatred and evil, if that's the way it continues, then
although
we
easier
eventually
sometimes.
it is way easier.
That's
I know
probably
you
the problem.
have talked a little about your faith journey, you know, especially after leaving Hawk Nelson and stuff. And I was curious if you want to talk a little bit about that, because I've had a very similar experience, you know. So
Sure. Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's no secret now. Like I hated what I did. I was doing it. It became a job for me, and I think I didn't really know what I'd signed up for.
Yeah.
I grew up in the church, very active in the church, and I went from being in a church in a youth-led worship band, like that's what Hawk Nelson was. That's what we started as, and we left to go on the road and played some really big arenas and like had a really successful run, you know. But then it went from just being this fun-loving youth band to being like on top of the podium, if you will, of being in charge, and suddenly people have questions and fans have questions and that you don't have the answer for.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, I just got tired of being a spokesperson for the kingdom of God. For one, I did not know the answers I was giving. I was making most of them up on the spot. I didn't have any theological background from what I'd learned in youth group or church as a kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I could give some really great cliche Sunday school answers, like, "Oh, just give it to the Lord, kid. Just keep trusting in God. He'll see you through."
Exactly.
They love that. "Oh, thank you. He said that to me. That was going to work."
I know.
But like that gets old as a guy that has to say that time after time after time again. It just got fake to me, and that ate at me. And as you know, when you do that for 12, 15 years, you're just over it.
Oh yeah.
And when you look back now and you see all these bands and all these Christian artists deconstructing and not really knowing who they are anymore, that's why.
Exactly.
Nobody has any
That's
accountability on the
insight.
road. You're just going day in, day grinding, doing your show, saying your thing, and then you go to bed at night being like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
But you're trapped, and you just got to keep doing it because you don't want to look bad. You don't want people to think worse of you. You don't want to dare say anything or question anything because your job's on the line suddenly. So you're just
Exactly.
you're stuck. And so I quietly and privately deconstructed. I let the band know that I'm not doing this anymore. And they said, "Please do not post anything." Facebook was new right at the time. Instagram wasn't even a thing. I didn't get Instagram until I was even out of Hawk Nelson. So they're like, "Please do not say anything on the internet. Don't MySpace it." I think that was the thing.
That would have been a big one.
I'm like, "Yeah, sure. That. I get that. No problem. Like, we'll figure something out and see it through." And then I just left, and then I was just burnt out, and I was done. And I didn't even want to play music anymore. And so probably the last time I saw you, I was probably just trying to make a quick buck. So because I was broke.
Yeah.
And, then I'm like, well, I don't know what to do with my life because I have zero skills other than playing music. And that's barely a skill on its own, you know? So I was like, well, I'm going to figure this out. And at that same time, I was going through a divorce privately. And like, I was like, you know, being from like the top of the world to suddenly just collapsing and crumbling to being like a shell of a human being.
Oh, yes.
It really caught up with me really quick. Mental health wasn't really talked about in those days, but I was falling apart. And there's nothing more embarrassing, humiliating, and humbling than having to pull into your parents' driveway, being like, "Hey, you know, Mom, Dad, you know the bedroom that I lived in my whole life as a kid, is it still around? Like, can I
have that? Yeah.
Can I have that back?" And my mom, bless her heart, she had all of our bedrooms all like intact from the time we were like 5 years old. So,
That's how my mom is.
my brothers and sisters' bedrooms were all still set up. Mine was still set up. And you know, a guy that was like the lead singer of a pretty successful rock band now crawling into like his old bed, like that was sad. It was a really sad few months. And I just remember like just not knowing what to do. I ended up taking a job at like a hardware store. I was working like a lumber yard. I drove into this. It was like this little home, like local hardware store, like not much business, but I just talked to the boss and I'm like, "Hey," I'm like, "Can I have a job?" And I didn't even have a resume. I just kind of threw some ideas together. Like I didn't even know how to make a resume.
I mean, yeah.
Like the last resume I made, I was like 15.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I didn't have many credentials. I just remember looking at the resume being like, so you sing in a band, huh? Yeah. Like that was it.
That's
And
what I
he's
did.
yeah, he just kept saying, huh. Like he was just like, is this like sort of a joke or what? He didn't know what the heck was even about, but he was like, man, and he's like, listen, he's like, I don't know if I should do this. He's like, but here's what I'm gonna do. He's like, I'm gonna give you a chance, and here's why. He's like, my son is your age, and last year he hurt himself pretty bad, and he's supposed to go pro. He was like a pro hockey player, and he was supposed to go pro, but he hurt himself. He's like, and he's missed that chance now. He's like, and he's in the exact same position as you. He doesn't know what he's gonna do with his life. He's like, and I feel for him and I feel for you. He's like, are you good with people? I'm like, yeah, I think so. He's like, okay. It's like, let's start you in the yard and see how you do. And I worked there for a year, and I hated it. But during that time, I just needed to start over. You know what I mean? I just needed to figure out. I knew what I had to do next in life. Like I was literally at phase 1, still in my bedroom as a 15-year-old kid, living there, trying to make minimum wage so I could like get my own place. So like, I'm now like 30 something. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I am like the worst human being right now. This is so like uncomfortable. Right before I moved back to Canada, I'd taken everything I'd earned from Hawk Nelson and I moved to New York City, and without going into too much detail, I spent and blew like every last cent till I had nothing left. So I had no choice but to move into my parents' house. So during that time, I had I'd gotten to know a bartender there. She'd just moved to New York from Ireland, and we kind of kept in touch a little bit. And she'd started coming to visit me. So at this point, I'd moved into my parents' house. I was there for like 3 months, but that was a long 3 months. And I got this little house. Like just north of the city where I live, and was just kind of living in like a basement, like apartment kind of thing. I was working at this lumber yard, and she'd come to visit, and my mom was like, well, where's she staying? I'm like, Mom, I'm 33 years old. Like, that's we're so past that. I'm no longer kissing, dating goodbye, you know? And it was just still a weird, like, well, you still live at our house, you know, like you live there, like, but anyways, during all this time, I love my parents to death. They're unbelievable human beings. But my mom was like, babe, she's like, you need Jesus. I'm like, yeah, Mom. I'm like, you've told me that since I was 3 years old. I'm like, I know. I'm like, that's not what I need to hear right now.
Yeah.
But like every time she's like, honey, you should come to church with me and your dad. It would be really good for you. And I'd always come up with some excuse why I couldn't go. I just didn't want to do it. I'm like, I was so over that, you know? So anyways, this girl, Neve, came to visit me, who is my wife now, by the way. And my mom found a loophole. She, instead of inviting me to church, she invited Neve. And Neve has like zero upbringing in the church. She was raised in Galway, Ireland. So she was raised Catholic. So she went to mass and did like at a tradition she went, but didn't know anything about God or Jesus or anything. And so my mom invited her to church, and Neve, because we'd only been seeing each other a little bit, we didn't even call ourselves official. We were just kind of hanging out, you know. Neve was not going to say no to my mom, and I wasn't going to say no to Neve. So there was the whole thing. So
yeah,
my mom invited her to church, and then I got invited. So we're going to go to church with your parents. Like, oh, okay. I'm like, dang it, she got to her. And it was a Pentecostal church that.
Oh God. Sorry.
Yeah, it was.
That's
it was
where
hardcore.
I came from.
Yeah. So I grew up.
Well, going from Catholic to that must have been a shock for her as well.
Dude,
bless her.
Trust me, it was insane. So I grew up in a pretty, we call it non-denominational, but it was charismatic. A lot of, if you're familiar with like the whole Toronto blessing thing.
Yeah.
We were like the byproduct of that, because we were just right down the road. So people's teeth were turning gold. People were born like mooing like cows, and I saw a man try to resurrect his wife at a funeral service for like 3 hours.
No.
So like there's a lot of church trauma that's been going on in my life, you know.
Same.
And so it was kind of that again, but like, are you familiar with Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames?
Yep.
The production. So that's what it
Yep.
was. And my mom thought that was just the greatest thing for this new girl I see to see.
No.
Terrify her, yeah.
So
Was it?
we went.
What was that? Was it a film, like a movie?
No, it was a local production. It was made by somewhere in the U.S. and then they send it to churches, and then local volunteers will put it on for the church.
Thank you. Kind of like the Rapture plays or
exactly.
the Hell Houses. Okay,
you know,
perfect.
Hell
House
driving,
things
they
like
crash
that.
their
Yeah.
car, boom, they're in hell, and
Boom.
they want to scare the hell out of you, literally.
Yeah,
Yes.
literally.
And so we're watching this, and I remember we got there late, and it was a church I'd never really been to. I knew of the church because it was a pretty popular church in our town. And I remember getting there with this girl, Neve, and my mom and dad were sitting in the very front.
Oh, God.
And we're like, oh gosh, they're of course at the very front. So we walked down the aisle, and everyone in the congregation was like 100. They're all wearing like the same like blue. The men were wearing like the blue navy suits and their ties, and I'm wearing like this, and my wife's wearing like a Zeppelin shirt or whatever. You know, we're just coming as we are.
Yes.
And I just was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I could see my mom's like, honey, here we are. And I remember getting my mom's giving us big hugs. And I'm like, oh gosh. And these are just the things I remember. My dad was just sitting there, hey guys. And he wouldn't get up. So we like had to crawl over top of him because we couldn't just stand up. I'm like, hey dad. So that's what I remember the most.
Uh-huh.
And I remember just sitting there, and I was familiar with the play because I grew up with that kind of stuff. And, you know, I'm a guy that I care about things being done well. Like I'm a big fan of excellence and things be done properly. And this was not that. It was terrible.
No.
Like they were like
church members
their lines, and they were like stopping, and they're like, say this. And he's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, this is a train wreck. So I'm like critiquing it. And the whole time in my mind, I'm like, this is the worst possible scenario for a girl that I'm kind of into. She is for sure. I'm going to take her to the airport after this, and she's never going to talk to me again.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I'm like, we got to get out of here. Like, this is the worst. Like, why did we say yes to this? Why did she say yes to this? And these are all the thoughts. That was it. And so then at the end of the production or the performance, the pastor came to the front and gave the big altar call. Like, oh, here we go. And he's like, every head bowed and every eye closed. And I just remember, like, out of courtesy, I closed my eye, put my head down, looked around, just to see. Everyone put their hand up. And not one person put their hand up. And I was like, oh, I just like, that sucks. Because, like, they've been working on this all week, getting it all together, probably longer. And not one person bit. And, like, that was just the mockery inside of me doing this. And then it was quiet for a few seconds. And then it was at that moment, this girl, Neve, just kind of dug her elbow into my side. She's like, hey, she's like, would you go to the front with me?
Aww.
And this part breaks me every time. And suddenly everything that was just a joke and cynicism and pure mockery for me was like, I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Of course I'll go to the front with you. And thankfully we only had to walk like 4 steps because my
you're in a row.
But like, I walked to the front with her. It was just her and I. And then the old lady with like her pamphlet had her hand on our backs, and the pastor came and led us in the prayer. And I just remember Neve saying that prayer, and I just said it with her. And I knew, like, in that moment that prayer wasn't just for her. I knew that it was for me as well. And I knew that all the years of her hearing about who God was and what Jesus did for us, just to see the belief in her and just something inside of her changed. I knew that something inside me had changed as well. And it was a transformational thing that really happened in my life and in her life. And I just remember leaving that church. We like sped out to like a bookstore. We bought Bibles and like got devotionals, and like we just plugged in. And I remember I took her. She ended up flying back to New York that day or whatever. And I went back to back to work or whatever on Monday and Tuesday. And Tuesday was like one of my favorite days at this place because there's this old guy, Tom. He was like this old guy that was retired, but he worked with me on Tuesdays to unload the truck with me because he was employed one day just to get the employee discount. So that's why he worked there. But like him and I, we just got on so great. Like he was an old rocker and he just loved music, and we just always talked music all day. And he went down the rabbit trail down YouTube, I guess. He learned all about me and what I did back in the day. And but anyways, I just remember him looking at me, and he just looked at me, and I was like, "What's up, Tom?" He's like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" Like, what? You're one of those Jesus guys, aren't you? And I looked, I'm like, I'm not a preachy guy. You know?
Yeah.
I just kind of show up and do my thing. Like I'm a clean cut guy. And I was like, what makes you even say that? I don't know, man. I see the way you are around everybody else in that yard. He's like, and there is something different about you. And I just looked, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, I am one of those Jesus guys. I knew it. He's like, man, he's like, I remember I asked Jesus into my heart when I was like a 10-year-old kid because my mom put me in like a Bible camp or something. He's like, and the lady said if I asked Jesus Christ into my heart, I'd get an ice cream at the end of the day.
Oh my
God. So I did that. He's like, so I remember, I'm like, that's awesome, man. And then I don't know. It was just cool that even he could see something was different about me. And something had changed in our lives, and which sprang to me. I attended a church that wasn't so out there.
Yeah.
My old youth leader and his wife had started a church. It was a smaller church, so I just started showing up there. A couple of my brothers were attending there with their families, so I was like, yeah, I'll check it out, and I loved it. And I remember it was a portable church, so I was just staying after and I just stacked chairs. I was like, I want to be a part of something that's bigger than me, you know? And I just plugged in and got connected. And after a few weeks or whatever, they got me plugged in. Like, would you play bass for us? I'm like, whatever you need. And so I played bass in the church band for like 3 months, you know?
Wow.
And then like, would you lead for us? I was like, I don't know. Like, if you need me to, I'll do that. And then, which sprung to me they put me on as a staff member there, and I was on staff there for 8 years.
Nice.
Oh, wow.
And then I stepped down at Christmas this year. That was my last service for the Christmas Eve service because I don't know. I just felt that's not. This is such a Christianese thing to say, but it was not my call. It's not my calling in life to be working at a church, leading worship for people in a church.
Yeah.
I've always felt strongly that people that are kind of bypassed or looked down on or ignored, those are my people.
Yeah.
And I've always catered towards them, and there weren't enough of them in the church. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I would leave 5 or 6 Sundays a year to go play shows or festivals or whatever. And every time I would be out there, I just came alive. And I realized the people who were out there needed it as much as I did. And there was just a connection that was not at the church.
No.
So I did a festival in Minnesota this past summer. And it was a 7-day slumber, and all these guys who I remember playing with back in the day. And
Cool.
after the show, Joseph's like, dude, we should totally go on tour together. And you know, you have those conversations with guys.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, totally. Yeah, we totally should. We'll grab coffee after this, and then you never talk to them again.
Yes, exactly.
I legit thought it was just one of those. Like, yeah, man, totally. Like, all right, man, good to see you. And then I flew home back to the church and was going to church. And it was like 3 or 4 days later, he called me. He's like, dude, I'm serious. What do you need to do to go on the road? And I was like, man, it was like a thanks, but no thanks. You know, I'm married. I got 3 kids. I was like, there's no way I'm just going to leave my wife and kids to go on tour. Like that really doesn't make sense, you know, as much fun as that would be. He's like, listen, man, you can have my band. I was like, oh, that would be fun, you know.
Well,
just rock a little bit. I was like, I don't think I can do it. Like, it just doesn't really. It's not feasible, you know, at this time in my life. He's like, listen. He called again. He's like, listen to me. We got 2 bunks on our bus. You can ride for free. We will pay you, and you have 0 expenses. Just show up and play. People need to hear your music again.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, all right, let me talk to my wife about it. And I was like, okay. I was like, listen, here's the offer. And she's like, she's like, I think that's what you're meant to do. Like,
Yeah.
like,
Aw.
and I was like, listen, I'm like, can I bring Ryan? Ryan's our 8-year-old son. Because I honestly, I went out in the winter before, but I went out for a couple weeks and I loved it, but it was hard. Like I was homesick, which is
I
a new
bet.
thing for me. You know, like I've never had like my heart elsewhere before. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, aside from the FaceTimes every night or 3 times a day, I was still like, I want to get home. And so I was like, can I bring Ryan? She's like, well, maybe we'll talk about it, you know? But that was kind of like, if Ryan can come, I'll go. And so we ended up getting a note from his principal, and I brought my kid with me for the 3 weeks, and we had the time of our
Wow,
life.
how cool is that?
That
I mean,
is
he'll
so-
remember that forever. I mean, that
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
for him
Fortunately, he's, like,
alone,
hooked
that's
now.
an amazing story.
Yeah,
You
so
know?
Yes.
Ryan's hooked, and he wants to go every time now. Which
I bet.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to, but his mom's like, that's a lot of time off school.
That's
So we're
true.
kinda- But I'm like, if he doesn't go now, like he's gonna hold this against me for the rest of his life because
No.
I gave him a little taste, you know.
Well, but also the fact though that he got to see what his dad's passionate about, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was really
experience
funny, man.
that. Like, what does dad do?
Exactly.
You know?
The first night it was hilarious because like he saw me. He's always just seen me as like his dad's the church guy. He's the guy that leads worship at his church. So like the first night of playing, there's like a big signing line, and people asking for my autograph. I was like, "What are these people waiting to write on their shirts?" I'm like, "Buddy, I know it's crazy,
Yeah.
isn't it?"
Yep.
So that was a whole new thing for him, and like it was just I don't know. It was really cool to show him what his dad can be cool. See, so
Yeah.
I know.
but
That is
anyways, yeah.
amazing.
So it's been really, really fun, really exciting, and I've got that fire inside me again, just to rip it again. So
Aw,
here we go.
That's amazing.
Just ride that Bronco till he bucks me off again. You know. So,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Hopefully it won't happen. So I was listening to, I think the podcast you did with KJ52 like earlier today. And you guys were talking about y'all maybe doing you and 7 Day Slumber and everybody doing a another like little tour. Is that happening?
That's happening. It's being booked right now. So I know it's West Coast.
Well, of course it is.
I know.
Okay.
All I know is they're picking me up in Phoenix. But yeah, so I
Well,
don't
still,
know.
that's gonna be awesome.
Are you in
Yeah.
Canada now?
Yes.
Okay.
Born and raised back in
Whereabouts?
I'm a couple. Actually, there's a new highway, so I'm just like an hour northeast of Toronto.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're
It
finally.
is so funny that you and I are on the same time zone,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Jay, we live in the same country, and you're like,
Well, because that's what
man.
I'm like. Oh, maybe it's 4 p.m. Pacific time because I thought you were on the West Coast. I'm like,
Oh,
Yeah. No, I'm in between everything right now.
we're trying to get him back to
Right.
North Carolina.
It's the
I
middle
know.
of the day. I get to do after school here in about an hour, so that'll be
oh, buddy.
yeah.
For
after
sure.
school. I do an after school program, so I make sure everybody gets to the programs that they go to and do all that kind of
Or
stuff.
your kids or other kids.
Well, my kids and all the other kids at the
Okay,
school.
wow.
I live right next door to my kids' school, so
All right.
That's perfect.
yeah. I'm
It's
also
easy for pickup.
divorced, so their mom lives about 7 minutes from here,
Okay.
so it works out pretty well. And
All right.
yeah, it was kind of worked out really well for me. I like when you're talking about that dark time of like,
Mm.
I wasn't in my parents' house, but I was one of my buddies who's got like him and his wife have like 6 kids. And when I went through mine, I went and lived at their house for like 3 months, 4 months. And it
Mhm.
was like, you know,
It's
I know
hard.
I know that feeling of where you're just like, what has happened to my life?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Dude.
where is it going?
100%.
And I'm like trying to run a church, like at a bowling alley, you know, and I'm like, I can't afford to hire anybody to come in and speak for me. And I'm like, I don't feel anything, but sometimes I could, sometimes the folks in the congregation would just get up and talk, or there was a time where it was like 10-minute talk from Jay. We
Oh,
did
We're
an
just
Easter
gonna
once,
let the
and I said, I
Spirit
can't
lead this
talk about
service.
resurrection. All I can talk about is
Yeah.
crucifixion. You know what I mean? They're like,
Yeah,
okay,
dude.
we're with you, buddy. Cause they all knew where I was at, what was going. I put it all on out there
Well, it's good
for
to have
them.
those people in your corner, then, man, for sure.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. It was really
I
cool.
lost everybody, man.
no.
Like when you,
Oh, that's too
when,
bad.
like Hawk was a pretty big deal, right? And I didn't really know
Yeah.
that till I was gone. But
Yeah.
I understand from a business standpoint, like most of my friends were industry people. They're all guys in other bands, so it's like they.
Oh no.
Unfortunately, not that you have to
Yeah.
pick sides, but I felt like they felt like you had to pick a side, and so
Yeah.
of course they're going to go where the money is.
Well, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just kind of got forgotten, and it sucked.
Oh,
And you just kind of.
Is that more of the?
you
Is that
just
more of the
cruise through.
CCM world?
Mm.
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Well, you
And-
know, that's some of why I left radio. I was doing the same thing. I was having like this deconstruction period and time, and I just felt convicted because I was like, I feel like a hypocrite at the moment because I just don't feel right about being in this industry right now while I'm going through all this.
Yeah, I
And
think authenticity goes a long way, and
It
you can't
does.
really be real if you're
Yeah.
going through stuff. You have to put on this fake persona that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah.
What a breath of fresh air it'd be for somebody to be like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this.
Mm-hmm.
How do I fix this?" You know, and
Yep.
there's none of that, and that sucks.
None. I
Yeah.
know.
I mean, one time I remember when I was doing Revolution in Brooklyn, and we met at this place called Pete's Candy Store, and my co-pastor, Reverend Vince Anderson, who's just an amazing musician, like just amazing musician. He plays every Monday night at Union Pool in Brooklyn, and he's kind of like a staple of Brooklyn. But one day he came in and his father passed away, and he was like, I don't know if I believe in God anymore. And I'm just wondering, am I still going to be welcome here to talk to you guys and deal with this and struggle with this? And we're like, oh yeah, man, of course. We got your back. And I had something really horrific happen to me 2 weeks later where I was really questioning. And I said, you got two pastors who have a lot of doubt right now. And I'm like, so we're going to all try to go through this together and see how it turns out. If you're good with that, if not, we don't have much space anyway. and when we stuck through it, and there's something to that. Like I was thinking, just you talking about this publicly, like, I think that's vitally important that people realize the humanity of folks, period, but especially folks who do this type of work or in this kind of industry or things like that. People need to be allowed to be human and not be so binary. It's like, well, if I do this, then I can't be there. And if, so you have to choose like, well, which world am I, you can't, and that's why I love like MXPX. I know, Tom and those guys here, they have fans from everywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of both sides, yes, you have a lot of old like youth group guys in there, and then you have like a lot of little punk rockers in there. And,
oh yeah.
And I love that kind of like, worlds colliding a little bit and being open about like, well, I don't know where I am anymore. I don't know what if I think about that stuff anymore. And I think there's just something important about that, because I think we've made doubt, doubt is a part of faith. It's not the opposite of faith. That's what Paul Tillich said. He said, doubt is not the opposite of faith. It's an element of it. And that's how sorry, I'm going to not mean to preach at you, but that's how Dr. King got through when he was doing all of his philosophy studies. He was having a lot of doubts, and he read that quote and he goes, oh, okay, I can do the philosophy and go through this, because it's part of my faith is to struggle and to wrestle and to live.
Yeah.
And it's just vital that people know more like that. Hey, that's part of life. That's just,
I guess that's what deconstruction is. And honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with deconstructing your faith, as long as you have the parts to put it back together. And that's the part that's always missing, is like people just quit and they're like, well, I give up because I don't know if this is real anymore. And rather than try to find the answers or put the people in their lives to help them get the answers, they just walk away.
I'm backing out.
And you know what? Another crazy cool thing. I share my story very briefly on this tour with Seventh Day. I give the Coles Notes version, like 2 or 3 minutes. Like, this is where I've been. This is where I am. This is what God has done in my life. And I shared it every night. And I think we did 9 shows or whatever. By like show 7, after a sound check, me and my son Ryan, we would just sit in like the theater seats and just kind of just hang out, and we'd watch the other band sound check or whatever, just hang. And one of the guitar players from one of the bands came up to me. He's like, hey, man. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, whenever you're ready, he's like, could I have a few minutes of your time? And I was like, oh, great. What does this mean? Like, I didn't like, that could mean a million things. Like, I was like, yeah, man. I'm like, do you want to go chat right now? So we went downstairs in this dingy like dressing room, and he's like, listen, he's like, I hear you share your story every night. And he's like, I completely know what that is like. He's like, I'm 23 years old or whatever. He's like, I grew up in a Christian home. My dad's a pastor. He's like, and I do this every night. I play music in a Christian band. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I believe any of it anymore.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I'm like, this is what I've been saying since day one. Is like, bands need to have people in their lives that they can be accountable to. I'm like, but at that moment, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the guy. I'm the guy that they can be accountable to. I'm like, how did I not think of that? I'm like, I've been through all the bull crap of like getting stranded and lost and stuck and like not knowing where to go. But then I found the answer, and now I can breathe it into them and like keep them going. And I just that gave me a whole nother purpose in life, and I'm just amped to go out again. And I remember one of my pastor friends is like, dude, he's like, I'm so excited to get back on the road. He's like, but please find someone that you can be accountable to. I'm like, 100%. But I can also be that person. And I did love working at a church in that, because I learned how to lead, and I learned how to lead well. And I was a terrible leader when I was leading Hawk Nelson. I didn't know how to do it. I was just this fun guy that loved punk rock and didn't have answers. But now I've kind of got some answers, you know, in my holster, and I can help people in their struggles and their questions. And it's, I don't know, I'm amped. Let's go.
That's amazing. I feel similar in a way, because I did the same thing. And whenever I hit rock bottom, basically saying, I don't think I believe in any of this anymore, I was like, I'd lost my identity. That's all I'd ever known. You know, I mean, literally, my first concert was one of your concerts. I think I was
Poor thing.
15. What? You be quiet. I can still remember, you guys were my favorite band when I was like a teenager. I know. I had like everything. Oh, I meant to try to find it, but then I forgot. I even had the bobblehead of you guys, you know. Remember that? And I don't know if this was like a premonition or what, but for some reason your head broke off. But it was the only one, and it was before you left Hawk Nelson, which was really
that was clearly the Lord.
It was before. So, because I can even remember, like, when I heard that, I forget, you guys were playing with Audio Adrenaline. I can't even remember it so long ago. But
Audio and Toby.
Yes, that might have been, that was it. I loved, you know, Hawk Nelson and every other Christian artist, just about, especially punk rock, hip hop, stuff like that. So when I went through that, I was just devastated, because I just felt like the one place I've belonged, they don't want me anymore, you know, and I'm not really allowed here. Yeah. And so I'm like you, now that I've taken time, and it's funny that we all kind of had to leave organized religion to then find it on our own, you know, and find that realness. And ever since then, I've just been like, I've had the same exact passion to just get out there and just like help anyone that might be feeling similarly to, you know, how we did.
Yeah, and I find having kids helps a lot too, because they have questions, and you want to be able to raise them in a way that's right.
Exactly.
And, you know, I have 5 siblings, and a lot of them aren't following God or anything, and they have a lot of like church trauma. As I told you some of my experiences growing up, and they had the same experiences. But they've opted to not raise their kids in that same upbringing because of the crap they grew up with. But I'm like, I was talking to actually my old buddy Matt, who was Hawk's drummer. Oh yeah. Where we are, you know, our kids are all friends. So we all went to a trampoline park the other day together, and we were chatting about this. Like, our parents, you know, I see it now as a parent myself. Like, my parents didn't know. There's no handbook on how to parent, and they just wanted to do what they thought was right. And fortunately, trying to scare us by saying, if you don't believe in God, you're going to burn in hell. That was what they knew to be as right and true. I know. Like, you know, there's, you know, you need to be able to question your own, you know, faith and as to why, but like, to show our kids, you know, this is what Jesus did for us. And start there. Like, did Jesus die for our sins? Yes. Then that's all that matters.
It doesn't matter. Exactly.
At the end of the day, you know what I mean? And
that's it's really funny, because very similar. My son's not been in church very much. We do more like we go to a thing where it's more like people, it's just like a community type thing more than church, sort of and stuff. But I was so petrified to let him be really involved in a church, especially a youth group, because that's where a lot of my religious trauma happened. And so, but I have noticed that he has come to me himself and he asked me these questions, like, about Jesus and all this different stuff. And without me even really pushing it much or talking a whole lot about it with him, this kid just like loves Jesus. He is just like all the time. Like it's wild. And it's such a pure like love, and there's no fear in it. It's fully just, he has come there himself. And there'll be other things. Me and Jay like to talk about this. There'll be other things that, he'll be in therapy for down the road for sure. I don't know what yet, but yeah, maybe that won't be one.
Hopefully not that one. Yeah.
That one, maybe. Exactly.
My kids, for me, it's always been more about, if they're drawn to it, I've really tried not to promote it. And because of the way I was raised, I mean, I was almost like a prop in some ways.
Yeah.
For my parents.
And yours was public too, Jay.
Yeah. So it was fun. So with my kids, like, my son asked about going to a youth group the other night with somebody, and I was like, what is it? Where is it? What, what I mean? Like, I'm asking him more questions than if he would have been like, I want to go to a bar, Dad. I was like, at least I know what you're going to see there. I mean, obviously I'm not going to let my 10-year-old go to a bar, but I was just really concerned with like, oh yeah, it ended up not working out. And I was like, oh, whew. But I was like, oh, okay, this is where we're at. We're going to have to start having these conversations,
Exactly.
And my daughter was like, I want to read the Bible, and I'm curious about this. And I'm like, okay, well, let's sit down and talk about it first, and then we can look at it, and we can pick out what you should read,
Yeah.
But it's their mom's not a believer, so it's like, I'm very sensitive to that as well. And it's funny being in the work that I do, everybody would think like, well, aren't your kids like, well, they used to come to service when we were before COVID, when we had services, sometimes they would sit on my lap during my talks, but yeah, so it is different when you kind of learn, cause you learn what not to do a lot of ways from your parents. And I don't think that's an insult either. I mean, hopefully our kids will learn things like, hey, my dad could have done this better,
Oh yeah, for sure.
When they might do this more,
Exactly.
But yeah, it's and it's funny for me because it comes out through different ways of like, when he talks with fighting comes up and things about that. And I talk about that kind of thing of like, well, I don't think violence is going to solve this issue. I'll tell you what I think that, and kind of through those principles, through faith that I learned, and through nonviolence, but that King got through, what I mean? And kind of sharing those things with them. And it's wild. It's, I'm an older dad, but it's great to be in that place and kind of see that, and not just like my dad would be like, are the kids going to a good church? You know what I mean? I'm like, Dad.
I love that he still asks that. Yeah.
Like, I can't even get hired at a church, Dad. Do you think
really?
Kids are going to one? But yeah, so it can be, I think we've all been in similar places. It's funny that one time when I was going through it and I was not, just felt like everything was gone. And I had remembered this book by Peter Rollins that I read, who's an Irish philosopher and theologian. And he had talked about with Jesus on the cross, and when Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me? And, growing up evangelical, everybody's like, you want to be like Jesus, follow Jesus, be just like Jesus, Jesus. And so, and in that moment of kind of like just feeling completely alone and abandoned, I was like, and I was like, oh, this is kind of a Jesus moment here. I'm feeling a bit forsaken. And I'm like, how is this weird that I'd like, and it was just such a weird, like, it felt so contradictory to be like, I feel like I'm with Jesus. I don't feel like God's there. I feel like I'm experiencing something. And I feel like somehow there's something happening and I'm not sure exactly what it is. And I just had to like sit with it. Pete's also my best friend. So I was like, hey jerk, I just I don't want to tell you this, but your book had an effect on me.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so it's bothers me that I think that the churches are so fearful of that, of the realities of life. I've been reading a lot about the sacred and the secular, and how they're really intertwined. You know what I mean? They're not, we always, I grew up thinking like, well, this is a secular space and this is a sacred space,
Yeah.
you can find sacred spaces in so many spaces. And
absolutely.
And I think even those moments of like you at the job and your guy going like, you a Jesus guy, you know what I mean? Like that, all that kind of stuff is you have these really sacred moments that you're like,
I know, Jason, that you have also, I just saw earlier, a new single coming out.
oh, cool.
April 10th.
April 10th, which is, I got to mention this. My cousin Jessica, who's grew up with me, we were best friends. She also is in love with Hawk Nelson. And she came with me to every concert. That's her birthday. So she's very excited.
That's why I did that.
Yeah.
That's good for you.
I was like,
I'm
talking to charity today. I think sure our friend's Jessica's birthday is April.
I feel like this is right. Yeah. Well, you nailed it. You got it. It's perfect.
It's so cool too, though, to see like singles again.
Yes.
Like you're able to release singles. Like
I don't even know how to do this anymore. I'm old school. Like
I know, because you're like, well, I'm supposed to give you a whole album. You're like, no, you can put that song out now, like they used to. Like when I was like before I was even a kid. That's all my parents had were these like little, the 7-inches.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like we gotten back to that again, and it's like, oh, this is so cool because you can kind of like find somebody from one song and then be like, oh, I hope they put these songs together somewhere. It's so exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. And I like how you're doing it because you have a full album coming out, right?
22nd of May.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't want to keep you too much longer. I know we've kept you for a very long time. It was wonderful catching up. I'm glad to hear. Yeah, I'm so happy to hear.
It's funny. I was nervous because I'm like, I knew right. I saw your name. I'm like, oh, sweet. I'm like, I wonder if she remembers me.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. I always like. I've been reaching out to old like friends from the Hawk days and I haven't kept in touch with for 15 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, is this still so and so's number?
Yeah.
Like, yes. I was like, hey, this is Jason Dunn. I give I used to be in the band Hawk Nelson, like from Canada. Like I legitimately don't know if anyone remembers me. They're like, dude, I'm like, oh, sweet. So
that's also very Canadian. You're very like,
yeah.
I'm a humble commander from the north.
No, I do fit that stereotype, and my one daughter does as well. She apologizes for everything. I was like, baby, you don't need to apologize for putting your boot on or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My husband gets on to me. I do that constantly also. It's like you can be Canadian and Southern. Both ways, you're going to apologize way too much.
That's right.
Doesn't matter. Yep. It's crazy.
It took me a lot of therapy to stop apologizing now, but I still has to like hit my head like when I'm sending a tweet because I'm going to apologize for something that had nothing to do with me. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And then my brain goes like, you don't need to apologize. It's like that commercial where, the insurance commercial where the guy's trying to keep people from turning into their dads.
Oh God. Yeah. I love those.
I hear that and I go, oh, okay. Yeah. Right. And then I'm like, find another word, Jay, I mean, I used to apologize for the sun being out.
Just on this weekend, we were at like a store and I held the door for someone to let them in. And I'm like, I said sorry. And I don't even know why. I'm like, why am I? And they apologized back. I was like, I don't know. Like,
no, I'm sorry.
This is the most Canadian exchange.
That is so Canadian.
Absolutely. Well, okay. I know you got some shows coming up. And do you want to plug anything before we get out of here?
I have a new song coming to April 10th called Hope.
And I think we need it. I'm excited to hear it. I need something like that.
I haven't released music like this in a very long time. So it's it feels strangely familiar, but it also feels kind of new. Like the nerves. I'm like, oh, what if people don't like it, or how do people hear it? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. So usually there's always like a big machine making it happen, and now it's just me and my manager Jeff. So and fabulous people like you. So
thank you. Well,
That's
I
awesome,
didn't forget about you. Sure enough, yeah, no.
It's consistency though, man. You're being, that's that's not to be something that's balked at, to just, you could have just been like, I'm just going to be the manager of the store. You know what I mean? Like, and life's going to be a lot easier, and it probably would have been a bit easier.
Yep.
You know, but there's a compulsion that you have. And I think I see people in comedians often talk about it, like, well, they got to be doing something. But I also think people of faith have kind of a compulsion of like, well, there's this thing to this love thing that I need to go out and I need to be part of, and I need to do it with the tools that I have. But so many people aren't, so many people are not consistent. They give up, they don't do that. And so consistency is important, and encouraging people to be brave enough to do that. That's a huge value, man. I mean, like, you're being transparent, you're being, you're working on consistency, and, and you're letting other people know, like, hey.
And I think a lot of people are going to be excited, because I know, especially for me, but I know a lot of other people have just had a whole, miss Hawk Nelson, miss that sound and, everything. So I can't wait to listen to the whole thing. I'm thrilled. One more thing I did want to say, I just saw my little note. Your song Second Chances, I just wanted to let you know. Yeah, throwback, I know. I just wanted to let you know that is one of the songs that helped me the most during my deconstruction.
Wow.
And yeah, because it just spoke. So I was like, oh my God, I don't have to completely give everything up. You know what I mean? I can start over.
Amazing.
Yeah. So thank you for that. You're already, you're making a huge impact.
But I was setting up a page today for the single, and like they had to put all your social media. So I'm like, I don't even know how to find that.
What do I do? I know.
Yeah. So
I'm not gonna lie. I've had to get a little help from ChatGPT.
I'm a dad when it comes to that kind of stuff. I was like, oh my gosh. I wouldn't dare log out of Facebook because I wouldn't know my password to log back into 2012.
Would be so bad.
Oh, it'd be terrible.
I love it.
Hire a hacker to get back
in. Your email. Well, what email did I use?
I know. That email no longer exists.
The password isn't correct. Type in a new password. It's like, I can't put the same password you used the last 30 days. Like,
I know, and you knew it.
It's the worst. And now with AI, I'm constantly like, my husband works in tech, so nothing gets by him. So I feel extra stupid when I send him something that I just think's hysterical. And he's like, oh, baby, this is really funny, but it's AI. It's not real. And I'm like,
yeah,
well, whatever, it's fine. But yeah.
You're AI. Huh.
You're AI. You're not real. Exactly. That's right. Boom. Yeah. All right. Well, Jason, thank you so much.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
Jason.
Thank you.
Hang out again and talk. Yeah, of course. Come back anytime. We'd love to have you back on, especially after the album releases. I'm stoked.
Let's do it. Well, something else to talk about. I talked a lot today, so.
Right. Hey, that's good. That's what we want.
We
want you to talk. It's the whole point. Exactly. Well, you go eat your delicious dinner that you smell. I actually think I smell something too, and I'm going to go eat something.
It's wafting through. It's going into you. Like, is that shepherd's pie? Like, yeah,
coming through the vents.
That's right. Pie, you son of a gun. Northern Ireland is one of my favorite places in the world.
Wife, man, I'm telling you, we have a lot of potatoes. Fantastic. I will say.
Anyway,
guys,
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.